This is a HeadGum podcast.
London, England, look out, we're coming.
Soon.
September 16th and 17th to King's Place. Tickets on sale now at tcgte.com/live. And guess what? If you don't live in London, England, or
travel
even
there.
in England, travel there. But also, you can buy live stream tickets for the Saturday show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I found out there will be a chat during the live stream.
But we're going to be performing a show. Tom.
I won't be on the chat all the time.
Okay.
A few times I will leave the stage just to do a quick ASL in the chat.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get a feeling of who's in there.
You gotta get the demographics.
TCGTE.com/live, September 16th and 17th. Buy your tickets today.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And that.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
I'm a little tipsy.
Yeah, we've been drinking for a minute or two.
I've had a beer and a half. Not even.
Yeah. I mean, these are low alcohol beers. Tim.
Yeah. I have a very low tolerance, Tom.
Yeah. No, I'm like a big low alcohol beer guy now.
Yeah.
Because I drink at the same speed no matter what.
Oh, same. There was years ago I decided
This is actually apropos of our topic. Continue.
Oh, see, if you call it out, Tom, it ruins
now
the magic.
We're going to have to talk about something else.
Years ago, I was like, I'm drinking too much beer. That's too many calories.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch to just drinking whiskey straight at the bar.
Yeah.
And that way, instead of having 5 beers at the bar, which, that's how many calories, I'll have 1 or 2 whiskeys because that's like comparable.
Yeah.
But no, I'd have 5 or 6 whiskeys too.
Right. And you drink them a lot faster than you would a beer.
It's the worst.
I get, I feel like less of a hangover with whiskey than I do beer. I don't know if that's just like because it's less liquid. Does that make sense?
I think so. I don't drink enough to get hangovers anymore.
I mean, yeah, me too. Luckily, I haven't had too many recently. But just like thinking about, like sometimes if I drink a lot of beer, I won't have like a headache hangover, but like I'll just kind of feel like I'm sweating it out all day.
Oh yeah.
Where I don't get that as much with whiskey.
Yeah. My body has gotten wise after 40 years to be like, this guy's drinking too much. Just go to sleep. Just shut down.
Just turn them off.
Yeah. It's fine. It works out great.
Tim, I had to make a purchase, not a big purchase, an important purchase, or last weekend.
Last weekend.
Yeah,
had to
you'll
make the
never
purchase.
guess what I bought. Yeah, it's something as seen on TV.
My pillow. You've been raving about those pillows and the
No. I like his ideas, not necessarily the pillows.
Yeah.
Tim, I bought the club.
You bought the club?
I bought the club for my car.
Wow. Why?
Because apparently it is a TikTok trend to steal my car.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, yours specifically?
Kias and Hyundais from like a certain model year to a certain model year. But like
These
a
TikTok
wide...
trends, Tom.
Well, here's why it became a trend. Apparently, I think it's like 9 years of like models for Hyundai and Kia, which are the same company, I think.
Yeah, 9 years of models. That's also Billy Joel's marriage history.
He's been married longer than that.
He's been married to a lot of models.
Oh, I see.
Dating history.
I think he just married the one model.
Yeah, but he also dated
But
Elle
she was
McPherson.
a big model. He dated Elle McPherson?
Yeah,
I
it was
forgot
the
about
two of them. It was her versus Christy Brinkley for his heart. And he was the guy that got to choose.
Absolutely insane. Madness.
Yeah.
Absolute insanity.
Especially when you look at him now.
Especially if you look at him any time.
Yeah, especially if you look at him then.
It's not like, oh no, he was real handsome in his 30s.
Sorry, so there's 9 years worth of models of Kia and Hyundai.
And apparently all you have to do is like rip the plastic off the steering column. And I still haven't found the actual explanation for this, but apparently underneath there is a USB plug. and all you have to do is plug any cable, any USB cable into that USB plug, and the car will start.
What the heck?
Yeah.
No wonder TikTok's all over this.
Yeah, of course. So they have these things on TikTok, Kia Boys with a Z.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's just idiots stealing Kias and then like having demolition derbies with them. And then, just ditching them, just taking them for joyrides.
Man, we're talking about TikTok like conservative parents in the 80s. We're talking about Dungeons and Dragons and heavy metal music.
But, I mean, it seems
These
very...
TikTok trends that need to be stopped.
I don't know if it actually is a USB port, because that doesn't even make sense. But apparently, I mean, a USB plug fits in it, so I'm going to say that's a port.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's doing in there. But anyway, it's because like these cars cheaped out on there's something called, I think maybe like a gas pump inhibitor that like basically if the car is not started properly, gas shouldn't be going to the engine. But, Kia and Hyundai were like, we could save $5 by not putting these in. And, even if somebody does figure it out, how will they spread word to everybody else on the planet about it? Hyundai is presumably trying desperately to figure out how they can like not get sued or get sued for the lowest amount. So their recommendation right now is like, it's fine, but buy a steering wheel lock. That's what we recommend.
The club.
So I had to go out and buy a steering wheel lock. What am I going to do? I did look on Amazon and, they have like $20 steering wheel locks. But I was like, look, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it right.
Yeah, exactly.
The club, that's
How much was the club?
I went to the auto store, AutoZone it was.
Tom, did you go to the AutoZone on Atlantic Avenue?
Yeah, the hellscape.
The scariest place I've ever been.
Yeah, it's like Mad Max.
When you walk in there, I walked in, the parking lot was like Mad Max. I walked in, it was empty and silent. Like it was like walking into a soundproof booth.
When I walked into the AutoZone, there were like a bunch of people gathered around the door inside, and then somebody opened the door and was like, "Oh no, come on in," who like wasn't wearing a uniform or anything. And I realized he was a security guard, and they were in the middle of busting a shoplifter like right in front of the door. But like very low key, the woman was just like, the female employee was like, all right, and those are ours, so we need those back. Like just going through his bag, and the guy just being like, all right.
You got me.
And then just leaving.
Tom, I watched, I think like a pretty significant drug deal, not like a dealer to consumer, but I think like distributor to dealer happen in that parking lot.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was there to buy windshield wipers, and I realized I didn't like know the size of the windshield once I got in. So
a true gearhead there to buy windshield wipers.
So I walked back out to the parking lot, watched this massive drug deal happen, and realized like, well, I just sat there gawking like a tourist.
Well, that's
and,
usually what drug dealers and distributors love.
Yeah. And then, like, I walked to my car. Instead of leaving, I'd, like, looked at... This is on my birthday. This is on my 40th birthday. And I went back in and got them. And then I got back out. There were... one of the guys was still there.
That's so sad that nobody got you those for your birthday, and you had to, it was the only thing you wanted.
The only
you
thing
had to
on
go
my
out
list.
and get it yourself.
Then as I was leaving the parking lot, the guy tried to pull the gate shut.
Yeah, so
and I had to like gun it.
Yeah.
And I almost I think he was trying to lock me in the parking lot.
Yeah, probably because he was like, "Oh,
this guy knows too much."
Yeah, he knows too much.
This old man.
Yeah, this old man. We're gonna have to kill him.
It's gonna be the worst 40th birthday ever.
Yeah,
gunned down in an AutoZone parking lot.
Yeah.
So you went there to get the club.
So I went there to get the club. I was planning on spending $35, but then once I got there, I was like, this one is $8 and it looks nicer.
$8?
$8 more.
Oh,
sorry.
okay. So $43.
So yeah, like $43
for peace of mind.
For peace of mind, which you can't put a price tag on. So now I've got a club on my car. You know what? I paid more money. Maybe it was stupid. I paid more money for like a black one.
Okay.
Which might be a dumb idea because then it's like not obvious that it's in there. But it's like, but I also don't want it to be obvious. I don't want to look like a dork, you know?
Yeah, people who have the club are dorks.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, you know what? If somebody has to smash my windshield before they, realize that I've got this thing,
They'll at least think they'll be smashing, thinking this is a cool guy.
this is a cool guy.
He's a cool
Let's steal
Kia
his
owner.
car.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like,
that's
it turns out he was a dork all along. We're thwarted by a dork yet again.
Let's I don't know, take a shit in his car or something instead.
Yeah. I wouldn't. How many times? This happened to me multiple times, and I want to know if this is unusual or not.
Okay.
Have you walked up to your car while it's parked on the streets of Brooklyn or Queens, and somebody's been peeing on it?
That's never happened to me.
That's happened to me at least 3 times that I can remember.
then that's something you're doing. You're
I don't
you're
know.
inviting that behavior.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those
Is it maybe
stickers of like Calvin pissing on a Ford sign? And maybe
wish.
people see that and they get a big laugh and then they're like, oh, no, I got to pee.
I respect Bill Watterson too much. I'll never do that. No, it predates TikTok, so I don't think it's a trend there.
Piss on an
Maybe
old
it's a
dork's
MySpace
car.
trend. Like, it happened like the first time in Greenpoint, like in 2007, and just like an old man peeing on my car, and like I gave him his pride. Like, I walked by, I didn't want to be like, "Hey, get out of here."
Yeah,
what are you
like,
gonna
what
do?
are you gonna do?
Yeah,
half a leak on your car or a full leak on your car, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Once there's more than a second's worth of pissing happening, you already don't want to deal with it. So you might as well let them finish and not risk getting it on you.
I think there's just a lot more street urination than you realize.
Yeah.
And people like to go between cars. It wasn't like they were like peeing all over my car. It's like, to be discreet on the street.
Yeah. Sometimes I've looked out the window of my apartment and I'll see like a delivery driver just
Peeing
like
on your car.
no, just like peeing in between cars, but still, I'm like, I remember this happening somewhat recently where I was like, what's this guy doing out there? And like, I kind of thought like, oh, is he like is he like checking out these cars? Is he going to like try and steal one of these? And then he, just unzips his pants, takes his wiener out. And I was like, oh, this is broad daylight. Find like a little alley or bigger
there's
cars
like
or
a,
something.
like a UPS or FedEx.
Yeah. It was like something
Go
like
in
that.
the back of the truck and pee in a bottle.
Pee in a box.
Yeah.
Pee in one of the boxes of, something you don't like.
Yeah.
Find a MyPillow shipment back there or something. Be in that box. Be like, I don't know. It must happen at the factory.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you didn't know this guy Mike smells like piss.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He
That's why
pees
his
on the
pi- that's
pillows
why his
all
pill-
day.
yeah.
Yeah. He marks his pillows. It's
Yeah.
his pillow.
Yeah.
Tim, this week we're talking about cocktails. If we can gently transition from piss to cocktails, if that's at all possible, I'd like to do it now.
I was surprised to learn, Tom, that we have not done this topic in the past.
No, and actually, I should point out this came from Jeff. This topic idea from our
Jeff.
Patreon. Yeah, only one name, the titular Jeff, like Madonna,
Yeah.
or I was gonna say like Shaquille O'Neal. Just Jeff. Jeff suggested cocktails. Maybe we have done cocktails, but if we
I
did, it
didn't
was a
check.
long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. Or it might not have been that long ago at all.
Look, it's Jeff's job to do the due diligence.
If you're going to suggest a topic and we've already done it, that's on you.
That's 100%
a-hole.
on you. How are we going to check?
Yeah. It's not our job.
Tim, what are your feelings about cocktails? Let's start there.
Tom, the hierarchy. I don't love cocktails.
Okay.
Here's my thing.
What about a drug cocktail?
Drug cocktail?
Yeah.
No, those are dangerous, Tom. I always hear of people dying and they say, "What? How did they die?" I said, "It's a drug
A
cocktail."
dangerous drug cocktail. Yeah, but then sometimes, people have things that like they haven't really like health problems that they like haven't figured out a cure for yet or a
and then
treatment.
they have a drug
then
cocktail.
they give them a drug cocktail because like there isn't one drug for this yet. But I know that was the case for like HIV for a long time.
Yeah.
It was like, you got to take these 20 different pills. I believe it's gotten simpler now.
Right.
but those were always, I remember being referred to as like, this person's on an experimental drug cocktail.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem like pleasant either.
Oh no, I don't. I think ideally
you weren't citing that as a pleasant.
Yeah,
drug.
I think ideally you don't want to be on a drug cocktail.
Yeah.
You
So
want to be on as
cocktail-
few drugs as possible.
Here's the thing. I get too drunk from liquor to have more than like one drink and be a reasonable person.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
And cocktails, they generally like make liquor even more delicious
Yes, yeah,
with like sugar and stuff.
yeah.
And then it makes me want to drink more and more. Like, oh, this is great. I want to drink this for the taste.
Mhm.
And then it's bad.
Yeah.
How do you feel about cocktails?
I mean, I guess I feel similarly because I'm thinking about like anytime I've like had like a cocktail night, like I'm drinking cocktails tonight, just cocktails. Yeah, that's like usually a recipe for not feeling very well the next day.
Yeah.
I don't need much encouragement to like drink faster or anything like that, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's what a cocktail is.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll stand around and go chug, 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 and you're like, I don't need this. I'm doing it anyway.
You know what I like to do, actually? I'll take that back. Like, if I'm maybe like at dinner, I'll like getting a cocktail before the meal. Like a cocktail is a first drink because your first drink is the drink you're tasting the most, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's like, oh, the first drink you're probably like drinking a little slower than the other ones because you've got
Man,
your wits about you more.
You're really focused on the speed of drinking.
Because you've seen this, like no matter what drink I'm drinking, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, I'll just drink it fast.
Yeah.
I'll drink it like as fast as I can. And like obviously it's a problem with alcohol to do that. But also it's like so many times I'll like go to the movies, buy the biggest soda, drink it as fast as possible, and then like 5 minutes into the
You're gonna
movie,
miss the-
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna burst. And then everybody's shh.
You shouldn't say that.
But I'm gonna burst. I gotta piss so bad.
But you refuse to leave because it's all
Yeah,
the
but it's a good part.
5 minutes in.
We're learning how he becomes Batman. We're learning about what happened to his parents. I can't go
I've
now.
never actually successfully seen how that plays
We're
out.
seeing how Spider-Man got his powers.
The thing is, do you agree with me that like most cocktails, like that are sweet, they all taste the same?
A little bit, yeah. But there are cocktails that don't necessarily taste sweet.
Yeah, I know.
There
Tom,
are ones that like are smoky and or not sweet.
can I tease later in the
Whoa.
episode, Tom? What's this here?
Tim's got some kind of oh god, I thought that had a swastika on it. for a
Right?
minute.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's a lion. It's like, like
Yeah.
a coat of arms lion.
It's just sparkling water.
It's
It was the only one they
sparkling
had
water.
at the bodega near me.
Okay.
And we got
Oh
this.
my goodness, what is this?
We got some bourbon whiskey. Tom.
Okay, that looks like a nice bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, what do we got
Did you
here?
buy all these on the way here?
I bought the sparkling water.
Oh, okay, because the whiskey looks new. Oh, and then limes.
Got a couple of limes.
Okay.
You got one of these things?
Oh yeah, a little bartender's shot.
Measuring
Yeah,
thing.
measuring shot, a shot and a half shot.
And now see, this is, I want to make this cocktail a little later for us to share because I think this is one of my favorites. It's a bourbon a bourbon Ricky,
Oh, a bourbon Ricky.
and it's very.
I knew a bourbon Ricky. He's
Yeah.
no longer with
He
us.
passed. And it's just lime, sparkling water, and bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
But then I found these bitters. I had bitters at my house.
Yeah.
I don't. Can we talk later about what bitters are? Because I don't
Okay.
understand. I think we should try to drink bitters on their own.
Yeah, we'll have 2 nice big glasses of bitters. Maybe we'll race, see who can finish their glass of bitters
Well, Tom,
first.
I think somebody would.
I know
get,
that's why
be
I'm
fooled.
proposing that
Yeah,
we do
okay.
this race. Well, I'm excited to.
Before
I
this
don't
episode,
think I don't think
yeah.
I've had this or even heard about it.
Have a bourbon Ricky together, Tom.
Yeah, all right.
You know what?
What?
That's what I'm calling my cocktail of the summer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that's what I'm calling my son. Changing his name.
Bourbon Ricky.
This is my baby, Bourbon Ricky.
Can you name a kid like Bourbon or
You can
whiskey?
name a kid like anything you want.
Yeah.
And hospital, some nurse will just roll their eyes at you and fill out the form and try and get rid of you as quickly as possible, I think.
Did I ever tell you about this nurse when my baby was born who was like really mean?
In what way?
Like
It's like, what an ugly, stupid baby.
No, and he was like a few hours old.
What an ugly, stupid dad.
He was a few hours old and he pooped really big. And she like got real mad at him. And I was just like, shut up, you dumb.
How'd she get mad?
She's like, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
I was like,
Guess what? That's the first of many, lady.
Yeah, and guess what? Like
That's the only one you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah, and I was dealing with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't dealing with it well. She had to come and like
I was
help
gonna say, I can't imagine that first poop. You were like, I'll handle it.
It's not like, here's the thing: changing a diaper isn't rocket science.
Yeah,
but also like, a baby that's hours old.
Yeah,
it's like, well, I can't go near this thing. I'll screw it up.
Yeah.
Nurse. She was so mean. What a mean lady.
Wow.
I got her fired.
Well, good for you. Yeah. Did you leave a bad Yelp review for the hospital, too?
Yeah, I only left a 15% tip.
Well, that's probably more than she's used to getting, honestly. Tim, I want to talk about... actually, before I talk about the top 10 cocktails...
Ooh, you got one of those lists, too?
Yeah.
All right.
I want to talk about cocktail bars.
Okay.
What do you think of cocktail bars? I feel like a cocktail bar is nice. Like... I always want to, like, shit on it, like, ooh, cocktail. But then when I go to one, it's always like, I kind of like this.
Yeah, it's a step up from the slop holes that we generally hang out in.
It's a step up from the Applebee's bar that we normally spend our nights in.
Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to go to a cocktail bar, a guy like me or a guy like you, maybe us together, with our significant others, we're like cosplaying as adults in that situation, right? Like, we don't belong there, and we know we don't belong there. And also, it's like, all right, I'm going to pay $23 for one drink. All right, we're here for one drink, and then
we'll split it.
Exactly. 3 straws, please.
All right, next question then. Have you ever been to a cocktail party?
I think so. Well, I've been to a cocktail hour before
a wedding.
Yeah. That's part of it. What is a cocktail party, Tom? Is that just a party that grown-ups are at? Because like I've been at those.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like me and you have been to cocktail parties that have been tied to an event of some kind, but like I don't think we know people that throw like cocktail parties. And I would say the difference is a cocktail party there, it doesn't have to be a hired bartender. It could be the person throwing the party, but there's kind of like somebody constantly.
Somebody stop me.
Somebody making drinks the whole night.
Oh.
Making cocktails. And of course, having all the accoutrements necessary.
Yeah, no, I don't think so then, no.
Yeah. That sounds like it would be nice though, right?
Yeah, should we have one of those? Should you and I host one?
Yeah, we should maybe host a cocktail party.
Yeah.
We can get cocktail dresses.
Ooh,
cocktail
a
napkins.
Slinky little number.
Some slinky little numbers. A couple of little black dresses for us. And throw a nice cocktail party.
Yeah. What do men wear at cocktail parties?
They wear tuxedos, I think.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's like a suit, but without a tie, with an open collar.
Yeah, maybe like a loosened tie. Like, oh boy, the stock market was something today.
Oh, not a loosened tie. You don't want to be like Tom.
No, but then you do that. You walk in with the loosened tie. You go, oh boy, the stock market was something today.
That's a guy that jumps out the window.
Listen, but then you go, but now I'm going to get into this cocktail party. I'm going to remove my tie and get into cocktail party mode.
Yeah, and then guess what? At the end of this cocktail party, this tie is going to be tied around my head.
Right, and that lamp,
Yeah, the
I hope
lampshade's
it's
gonna
not attached to that lampshade because that's going to end up on my head. Or I'm going to keep the tie on and jump out the window because, oh boy, the state of the stock market was really something.
be. Ugh.
I need a bourbon neat and that window open, please. All right.
Have you ever been to a cocktail party?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know.
Maybe like after a funeral.
Well, that's like not really. Again, I would argue that that's tied to an event.
Right.
I'm saying I've never had like somebody I know be like, "Hey, we're having a cocktail party
Yeah, but
this
like
Friday."
it's the same thing as like, have you ever been to a singles bar? And it's like, were there ever singles bars, or is that just like what they called it in the 80s, where like a bar where married people didn't go?
I think it was
Like
more
I don't
like
go to bars anymore.
I think in the 80s, what was called a singles bar was like, we've made our bar nice enough that a woman would want to come into
Right.
it. Because it was singles bars. Because, I don't think there were couples bars. I think it was men's bars and singles bars. And never the twain shall meet.
I used to get so jealous of ladies on ladies' night.
Really?
Yeah, they get discounts.
I mean, sure, I got jealous of them at the car wash when it was ladies' night, and they would get a discount on Tuesdays or whatever.
But then, like, when you think about it, like, it's like, ladies, stay away from ladies' night. That's like, you have to be lured into a place where it's like, normally ladies don't want to come in here, so we're going to give you a real good deal to get in here.
Bait is half off tonight, and ladies, come on in. I feel like I don't see ladies' nights much anymore. I don't know if it's just because we're in Brooklyn and
because everybody's sex positive now, Tom.
Yeah, I guess. Good job, feminists. Now you've gotten rid of ladies' nights. So you're gonna have to pay full price for your drinks. I hope
and
you're
who's
happy.
gonna hold the door for you now?
Yeah, you're
Not me. I don't have to anymore.
Yeah, I don't have to. And
I was only doing it because I had to.
And now I was thinking about, I think I talked about it in the podcast. This one time this guy held a door for me and I didn't say thank you loud enough and he yelled at me.
I hate it when people don't acknowledge me when I hold the door for them.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I don't need a full-throated thank you, sir, but I do need acknowledge that I exist.
I think I nodded to him and said thanks, but he didn't hear it.
Oh yeah.
And but there was a woman that walked in right before me and she didn't say thank you at all. And I was just kind of like, why are you yelling at me? Yell at her.
Yell at her. She's the weaker one.
Yeah, don't yell at me.
I might fight back.
I'm a man. I might wrestle you to the ground or something.
Bite your ear.
But I was like, sorry. I said thank you. No, you didn't. I'm like, okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And now we're both going to the same place, and this is very awkward.
You
and
didn't
weird.
have to. He wasn't interviewing you for a job, as it turned out.
No, we were both. It was a singles bar, and we were both heading into ladies' night. Tim, you've just prepared some Jimmy Gins or something.
Jimmy Jim's? Bourbon Rickies.
Bourbon Rickies. Let me take a taste here.
It's my... Oh, Tom, you didn't even sip it. Tom, it's a very simple
cocktail. It tastes like motor oil.
I chose it because anybody can make it at home.
Okay.
It's 1.5 ounces of bourbon. Okay. I put a little bit more in ours.
Oh, great. That's what we need.
Half a lime, freshly squeezed.
But I did watch you cut it in half and freshly squeeze it.
Yeah. I didn't wash my hands. Sparkling water to top. So you just fill up.
Tim, I hope you weren't working on your car today, swapping out the wiper blades or something like that.
No. Fill a highball glass with ice, squeeze the lime half into the glass, and drop it in. Drop it into the glass.
Wow.
Add the bourbon and fill with sparkling water. Stir briefly to combine. I didn't do that part.
Yeah, that's fine. Nature does the stirring.
So, Tom, tell me this isn't a great summery cocktail.
Ooh, that is nice.
Ooh, it's a little bourbon forward, huh?
A little bourbony. But that's fine because you can drink some of it and then put more sparkling, that Nazi water that he brought here.
Yeah, what is that? Gerolsteiner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God knows what that means. Don't put it into
Yeah.
Google Translate. Tim, I buried the lead here a little bit. I forgot to mention I'm a little bit of a ringer for this episode because I graduated from bartending school.
Now, Tom,
Uh-huh.
have you ever worked as a bartender even for a day in your life?
No.
Okay.
Despite I'm like one of those, like, sometimes like politicians have law degrees, but they weren't
Yeah.
like a practicing lawyer.
Yeah.
It's like that for me and bartending.
You just did it
school.
for the prestige.
No, I did it because after going to college for 4 years, I was like, well, now what am I going to do? Oh, I know. I can get a job as a bartender.
And turns out you couldn't without going to more school.
Yeah, exactly. I had to go back to school. I checked. The school still exists.
How much did it cost? You did this, in 2005, I want to say? 2004, maybe?
No, I think it was like 2003. I think it was
Okay.
like right after college. It costs, I believe, so I looked it up. Now it's $600.
Okay.
I believe it was like around $400 when I did
Okay.
it. And also, mind you, I was out of school, did not have a job, did not have money to be doing anything.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like,
nobody
well,
was forgiving your student debt at the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. I was like,
And that's why you're so mad right now, from what I understand?
exactly. How come I want Joe Biden? I want my $400 for bartending
Yeah.
school back. That's the least you could do. Yeah, God, who knows? Probably Hunter Biden was behind the whole thing.
Probably.
Probably running that school.
Somebody's got to look into that laptop. I think there's evidence.
Yeah, there might be my e-receipt from when I
Stop
signed up for
drinking
that.
during these things.
But yeah, I went in New York City in Manhattan, where the drink of Manhattan was invented.
Yeah. Dude,
And-
the big city, Tom.
Yeah.
Were you blinded by the lights of the big city and humbled by the tall buildings?
Yeah, that was usually when I came into class in the morning. I was shaking from fear from all the tall buildings and the hustle and bustle and the rat race.
Those rats racing around.
But it was
gross.
It was a 8-hour day, full week thing.
And now you got your money's worth.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like
You did it with a friend, Chris.
Yeah,
right?
with a friend of the show, Chris, who also never worked as a bartender, I might
Yeah.
add. Yeah, so like I can't be mad at them because it works out to, what is that, like $80 a day or whatever, $90 a day. So it's like like not bad for like a whole
Kept
day
you off the
course.
streets.
Kept me off the streets. But it was just like a class. I don't understand in retrospect who this could have really been for, because it like kind of trains you to work. You know what? I could see this being a good class for if like maybe you were like a dive bar bartender, but now you wanted to like work at a cocktail bar or something. You
Right.
could like go, because all you
What about
learn-
if you were just like not a dive bar bartender, just a guy out of college like you?
Because all I really learned was like how to make a bunch of different drinks.
Yeah, that's.
But I didn't learn like really how to work in a bar. A little bit. I mean, I don't think there's like really.
Well, like how to like work the register and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say there's really not much to it.
A bartender will come in here and slap that freaking.
I don't think there's
Ricky
much.
right out of your
there's
hand.
not much to like explain, but you can only learn it by doing it.
Right.
And
But
we
you
were-
need a base of knowledge, right? Like
Yeah.
any job in the world, you can only really learn by doing it. But
Right.
like education is supposed to like provide a base of knowledge for you to go in and
Yeah.
right, Tom.
But I think ultimately, like, it would have been, I would have learned way more and been further along in my career if I had like bar backed for a week.
Yeah, if you just like what you should have done was like our friend Billy, who bartended at a bar that we went to like pretty much every night. If you were
Yeah.
like, "Hey Billy, can I bar back here?"
Yeah.
He would have said, "Yeah," and then within 2 weeks you would have been a head bartender there because it was just pouring whiskey and getting beer from the tap.
Yeah. And it was, but I mean, that was like Tim, by the time Billy did that, I had given up on the dream of becoming a bartender.
Yeah.
I interviewed for one bartending job at the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
I mean, Tom, that's the big time.
I know.
That can't be the first time fresh out of bartending school. You're in Myrtle Beach at the freaking House of Blues.
Yeah.
They would have eaten you alive.
And I got an interview, and
girls going wild left and right.
I made a fake resume. And like,
now, why didn't you just make a real resume?
Because they wouldn't have hired me if I didn't have any experience.
Right, okay.
But I can't remember exactly what I said. But
now, did Jim Belushi himself interview you?
No, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what I was ready for, but he didn't show
You
up.
had a whole bunch of, I'll talk to him about, according to Jim, Curly Sue.
That hadn't come out yet. Curly Sue had come out. But it was so embarrassing because, like, you know, like, get in, they like...
Because you made an entire fake resume?
Yeah, because I made a fake resume, and they like showed me around and everything, and then they were like...
What'd you put on the resume? Just like bars that don't exist?
Yeah, I made up bars, and then just put them on the resume and hope that they wouldn't check.
Did you put phone numbers?
You know what? I think I put a phone number. I think I gave our friend Chris's phone number and said, like, if you get like a call from this area code, just say, oh yeah, the best bartender I've ever met. But literally,
Chris would have screwed that up so bad.
He just wouldn't have answered.
Yeah,
but like literally, they like show me around the whole place. The whole place is really cool. And then they sit down. They're like, all right, so on your resume here, it says you worked at a place called, I think it was Club Vertigo. It gets worse.
Club Vertigo.
And they're like, how many drinks would you say you served an hour there? And I thought and went, probably like around 600 drinks. And the person stood up and said, well, thank you very much for coming in. Shook hands with me and ended the interview after one question because I...
10 drinks a minute.
Yeah, because I was trying, because I'm like...
Club Vertigo is a very, very popular bar.
I think I said it was very popular, but it was like literally a great question for like, hey, anyone that's worked even one night in a bar would be able to tell you a rough idea. But I was thinking... You
thought about it even? And you thought 10 drinks a minute was reasonable?
I think I said 600 a night, maybe.
Okay, all right.
But whatever...
Oh, did he say? Okay.
Whatever he said, whatever I said, it was obviously not a correct answer in any way.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure...
Vertigo.
So that... But here was the thing. The guy was like, I think maybe I met with that person and then he, that was like the bar manager and he just immediately entered the interview and like gave me back to the like HR person. And then the HR person was like, it says on your resume here, like you worked at a TV studio in college and stuff. I was like, oh yeah. And she's like, so you know about like lighting and sound? I was like, yeah, like a little bit. Like, it's not exactly the same. She's like, oh, well, let me introduce you, the person that runs production here. Like a way better job that I was way more suited for that
why disqualified you from that?
I think then that person talked to the the other manager, and the other manager was like, "Oh, that kid's a liar."
Yeah, everything he says is a lie.
Don't hire him for
TV
anything.
Studio, yeah.
Which sucked because like that was a job that I would have really liked, and like definitely had enough knowledge that I could have like gotten in the door and then learned on the job.
How different would your life be?
If I was in year 20 of working at the
House of Blues in Myrtle Beach, just like the guy that's like, Yep, everybody comes through. I do a great job. I got the right rig. Don't tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
I got it. I got the lights.
You just tell me what color gels you want. I'll throw them in there. You tell me when you want the spot for the acoustic song in the middle of the set. We'll do that for you. No problem. I would have somehow gotten a weird.
Yeah.
I would have gotten a Brooklyn accent not living in Brooklyn.
You would be thriving right now.
Tim, I'd
tan.
probably be doing this podcast with Jim Belushi instead of you.
No, that's your dream. The two of you on harmonicas.
Yeah. I mean, Tim, how many episodes have I asked you, can we please end this episode with a harmonica? Just like a harmonica duet.
Yeah.
And you're always like, no. But I bet Jim would, probably from episode 1, he'd insist on it.
He'd be like, let's start it off and make the whole episode the harmonicas.
Yeah. So that was my experience with being a bartender and making cocktails.
Let me ask you this, Tom. A few follow-ups. Did they try to teach you flair at this cocktail?
Like a little bit, but not really.
Okay.
Like the guy who taught was like very good and had been a bartender for a long time and was like a really cool guy. Like he was the epitome of like.
Was it Sam Malone?
No, but he wasn't too far from the family tree, I would say.
Okay.
But it was like that kind of guy of like, oh, I could see why this guy's a good bartender, why you would like.
Did you tell his problems to him? And tell your
the
problems?
first class, I told him all my problems. It's like, nah, I'm $400 in the hole.
Was there place like I think a lot of these bartending schools, it's like, and we'll place you at like a bar when this is all over.
Yeah, there was.
But you were like, nah, I'm gonna hightail it to Myrtle Beach. Thanks. I'll just pay the Manhattan prices for the class.
Yeah.
But then I'll go to a way cheaper state.
I think there was supposed to be like on the last day we were supposed to like guest bartend at some place.
Yeah,
but like something happened and we didn't. And I remember actually being like a little pissed because they were kind of like, oh yeah, normally we do this, but like the bar's being renovated, so we're not. And I was kind of like, oh, that seems like a big part of it, like getting at least a little bit comfortable bartending for even an hour.
Yeah,
you're going to be way more comfortable lying about being a bartender.
So you set your sights very high, and then were humiliated. So like you just like licked your wounds, went on, and you're like, I got to find a whole new career path.
Well, basically, I think at the time, I just like really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I had a useless college degree. So I was like, all right, well, like I need to make money though. So like this might be like a quick way to make some quick money. And like, I like going to bars. So this will be the same thing.
The perk of being a bartender is you can get ripped while you're working.
That was one of the good tips that he gave when he said, like, if you're interviewing for a job at a bar, a lot of times they'll offer you a drink and always refuse it. That's like a test to see if you have a drinking problem, basically. Which is, it makes total sense. Like, oh, yeah, it's a great way to tell. If somebody's like, God, I'd kill for a fucking drink. Then you probably don't want that person. And it's like 10 in the morning. You probably don't want to hire that person.
Yeah. I would picture, without that advice.
You could say like a club soda or something, of course.
Yes.
But don't order an alcoholic drink.
If you did not have that advice, what are the odds that at the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach, you'd be like, well, I'm going to go in there, drink for a few hours, show them how cool I am, show them that like I'm familiar with the House of Blues.
He didn't ask me for a drink.
No, like before, like just like.
And I did say, I said, aren't you going to offer me a drink? There's an interview, isn't it? At Club Vertigo, we always give drinks to the bartenders interviewing for a job.
Club Vertigo.
Tim, let's talk about some of the top drinks.
Right.
The top cocktails.
Well, that was the coolest name you could come up with.
That doesn't sound cool.
I
It sounds
guess
dangerous, right?
It does.
Yeah.
All right.
Tim, the number one cocktail, according to liquor.com, and that's liquor.com. not LICKHER.com.
You spelled liquor wrong. It was LIQUOR.
Oh, wait a minute. Then that's not where I
think
was.
this Bourbon Ricky is really getting to you.
The number one drink, they say, is a bourbon old fashioned.
Yeah.
And
I like an old fashioned.
Yeah, that I would say is probably the most common drink that I'll order at a bar.
Yeah, it's one of the names that I can remember.
It's not too complicated.
I'm an old-fashioned man.
An
old-fashioned opinions
is 2 ounces of bourbon or rye whiskey. This is a teaspoon of water. I haven't really seen that. 3 dashes of bitters and 1 teaspoon of sugar or like a sugar cube and an orange twist.
Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of these have like sugar or like simple syrup.
Yeah.
Or you had to like muddle the sugar with something. I was gonna make us old fashioned, Tom.
Uh-huh.
That was my plan coming over here, but I didn't want to muddle anything.
Yeah.
Too much muddling.
Tim, the last thing we need is this podcast getting muddled. The second one, which I think is also the second for me as far as ordering it, a Manhattan.
I don't know. I must have had a Manhattan at some point, right?
Yeah, it's similar.
Only because that's what Bart was really good at making on that episode of The Simpsons for the Mafia.
Yeah. Very similar. It's 2 ounces of rye whiskey, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, and 2 dashes of bitter garnished with a brandied cherry or lemon twist if preferred. But it's in a martini glass.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing.
I don't like martini glass.
The whole thing of like, oh, this drink
Yeah.
goes in this shape of glass and this, and like I understand that they're like, oh yeah, no, because the way that like the glass, like for this drink,
but
it needs to.
Here's my thing, Tim. Living in New York City, if I'm paying $25,
You want
I want it in
silly
the right
backstory.
glass.
Yeah, but also the right glass. Like, come on, they're drinks. It's liquid.
I'm paying the money. I want it.
We're
I
just
want
trying
it done
to
right.
kill our feelings.
If I'm making it at home, yeah, I'll mix it up in an old Poland Spring bottle or whatever and be happy. But if I'm
Do you ever get that mixed up with your piss bottle?
Oh, more than once. Unfortunately, a lot of times my piss is about the color of a Manhattan, so it gets very confusing.
Jeez, Tom, you should see.
Number 3, and this is where things go off the rails on liquor.com, a porn star martini.
Yeah, this is liquor.com. What are you doing? This is the number 3
Come on,
cocktail
I thought
of
this
all
was a
time.
family website.
I browse liquor.com with my infant son every day.
Mm-hmm.
Showing him the pictures of the
And now I have to explain what a porn star martini is to him. Basically, it just sounds like a martini with like, I don't know, some like
passion fruit,
vanilla. Vanilla, yeah, sparkling wine, just kind of fruit puree. Yeah, just kind of like a more like fruity vanilla-y martini is what it sounds like.
The 2 questions. Do you say vanilla?
Yeah.
It's vanilla.
Vanilla?
Yeah.
Vanilla. You're thinking of vanilla envelopes.
Number 2, wouldn't just like martini be the correct number 3 here?
Yeah, because that's
Like, this says like it has passion fruit flavors in it. Like, come on, liquor.com. Nobody even really knows what passion fruit is.
Yeah.
No one has access to it.
Although
is that an actual
I'd
fruit?
like to go into a bar and be like, I'd like a porn star old fashioned, and see what I get.
Yeah.
That was the other thing.
That's the other thing I don't like about cocktails, where it's like sex on the beach or like stinking butthole, please.
I don't think that's one of them. Sex on the beach isn't bad, but there are other ones where it's like, can I have a fuck me in the mouth?
Yeah.
Like,
I know,
you have to like say something
bleep that.
embarrassing to somebody, and then you know what? I'm always afraid that they're gonna be like, "Oh, if you want that,"
Yeah.
but they're probably like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the people that giggle. There's like, look, this is the bane of every Myrtle Beach female bartender.
This is the bane of Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Bane, you're oh no, he's put explosives under the House of Blues.
The House of Blues will be the House of Death if my needs are not met. The bane of Myrtle City rhymes everything.
That's nice. No, but the bane of female Myrtle Beach bartenders are guys that like order those drinks just to say dirty stuff to a lady and be like, "Oh, technically, I can say that."
Right. I didn't get to that part of the interview where they asked how I felt about those things, unfortunately. Yeah, and then espresso martini.
Have you ever had an espresso martini?
I've probably at least had like a sip of one.
I did in Sweden.
Oh, okay. Well, when in Sweden.
I'm not sure if it was just the people I was with or if like Sweden that summer was overtaken by espresso martini fever.
Yeah.
But everywhere I went, espresso martinis for the table, please.
Yeah, I feel like a few years ago that had like a big comeback.
Yeah. To me, I don't like the mixture of caffeine and alcohol. It's like a speedball.
Yeah.
It's like a drug cocktail, Tom.
It is like a drug cocktail. I mean, that's the point of it. Same thing with like a like Red Bull vodka.
Yeah, I don't like
Upper
any
and
of that
downer,
stuff.
please.
Yeah. Confuse my body.
I'll
as
tell
much
you
as
who else
possible.
doesn't like it. Tim, your doctor.
Yeah.
They would say,
You know
"Hey,
my doctor?
say-
You know Len?
Yeah, I know Len. Tim, we went to
Yeah. He's never told me his last name.
we went to the same bartending school. But then we get to I'm not. Maybe we'll get through all these. Long Island iced tea.
Yeah, which is just
Mix everything.
Yeah,
everything you got.
a lovely namesake for our home.
Vodka, white rum, silver tequila, gin, triple sec, simple syrup, lemon juice, cola, and
You must like
lemon
this because it's
wedge.
got soda in it.
I mean, I'll just get like a soda with,
Rum and Coke.
yeah, like a rum and Coke or like a Jack and Coke. I'll do sometimes. Or
Is that a cocktail? Is any kind of mixed drink a cocktail?
I think so. I mean,
like if we're
no,
calling,
I think you call that a
this-
mixed drink, not a cocktail.
But so is this Bourbon Ricky a cocktail?
Yeah, I would say because it's got like a garnish. I mean, maybe if who knows? It's impossible to tell.
This is the freaking cocktails episode, Tom.
I mean, sure, Tim. You know what? I went to bartending school. I'm saying there's a cocktail, so it's official.
Right.
I graduated there, and they gave us a diploma.
Do you have your diploma?
No, I never printed it out. I think.
Look in your Gmail.
No,
Did you have Gmail at the time?
they printed them out for us, and like the printer ran out of red ink or something, so that like the colors were all weird. But
You should get a refund from Hunter Biden on this.
I mean, I framed it, and I had that under my arm as I walked into that job interview.
Yeah. Did you have a Photoshop picture of Club Vertigo? It was like it was just
It was just my face on a bartender in the back somewhere.
It was a Photoshop of the Viper Room, which is Club Vertigo.
See, I think that's what I thought. I was like, it sounds kind of like the Viper Room.
Yeah.
Club Vertigo.
Yeah.
V's, dangerous V's. Vipers are dangerous. Vertigo's dangerous.
Yeah.
Although, like, Vipers are sexy and Vertigo isn't sexy. The next one, margarita.
I like a margarita.
Yeah.
Do you prefer them frozen or non?
I think I prefer them on the rocks, but I won't say no to a frozen one.
Yeah, I think it depends on the outside temp.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want a frozen drink if it's not that cold out.
Yeah.
But,
But
like,
if
yeah,
it's hot as heck, freeze it up and blend it, please.
but yeah, a good margarita is nice. I don't think of margaritas as a cocktail just because I think of it as like often being pre-made already.
Right, but I make all my margaritas from scratch.
Really?
I've
What's in
never
'em?
made a margarita.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Next one, dirty martini.
There's a lot of martinis on this list.
Yeah,
That's with you know what? I don't like this. I'm not an olive man, Tom.
yeah. I remember them teaching us that there's like a dirty martini, a filthy martini, and then like a disgusting martini or something like that. And it was basically how much olive brine was in there.
Yeah. Yeah. James Bond, he stinks.
He's not a real man.
What?
Yeah.
All right, number 8.
Number 8, a White Russian.
Yeah, the dude drinks
Yeah.
that, Tom.
I feel.
Hey, the dude abides, right?
Again, I think this is kind of a
Hey,
weird.
man, don't piss on my rug, man. Is that the quote?
Something like that. 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce Kahlua, 1 splash of heavy cream. Again, I think kind of like a weird one to be on this list because it's something you gotta have like a taste for. It's kind of a weird, it's like a milk-based drink.
Yeah, but Tom, the dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the dude? It's from the film The Big Lebowski.
It's from the film The Dude. 9.
It's from the television show Al Bundy.
9. A Negroni. Have you ever had one of those?
I drank some Negronis at the last wedding the two of us went to.
1 ounce gin, 1 ounce Campari, 1 ounce sweet vermouth. Again, like a nice kind of simple drink. It looks nice. I always like the color of it.
Red.
Yeah. I like a red drink.
Yeah.
And then number 10 on the list, again, for being a family website, a drink called the Adios Motherfucker.
Yeah, I think they just were having a little fun on this list.
Yeah, I don't think I even wrote down what it was. Oh, it was basically a Long Island iced tea, but with like Sprite.
Yeah.
I think instead of cola. Oh, yeah. Long Island iced tea calls for triple second cola. This cocktail requires a slug of blue curacao and a topper of Sprite or 7-Up. So it's blue.
Yeah,
Which
cool.
is neat, like a Long Island iced tea. It looks like iced tea, which is brown.
Yeah.
And it's brown just because like you mix so much shit together.
And there's soda in it, Tom.
And
you
there's
love soda.
Yeah, I do love soda. Don't get me wrong.
Tom, why are you all of a sudden acting like you're too good for soda?
Tim, do you remember our health teacher in high school telling us that he never drank because he had a mind eraser when he was in college and it like messed him up for life?
Yeah, this is the same guy that said, I know y'all think marijuana is God's herb.
Oh, okay.
Everybody calls it God's herb. Oh, God put it here. It's God's herb. And that's what you guys call it. That's what everybody says about it.
Yeah, he was a weird guy.
Yeah, he was a weird guy.
And
he got fired for unknown reasons.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't said his name, and I don't want to get into any legally dubious territory, but I think he might have got in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But he
had that mind eraser that he had in college. Really,
fucked him up for life.
Yeah.
But he was a young guy. I mean, looking back, he was mid-20s, late 20s when he was a teacher.
Stocky.
Yeah. And like he was a coach and like, hung out with the jocks and everything. And I don't understand where he had this like weird idea about weed being God's herb.
Well, he heard everybody calling it that and he was accurately.
And then also, I looked up what a mind eraser is. Do you know what's in it?
Like vodka and like apple juice or something?
It is 2 ounces vodka, 2 ounces coffee liqueur, and club soda chilled to the top. And it's like, that's what messed you up so bad and what turned you off alcohol forever because you had a mind eraser? But the drink he explained was not this. Because he said, again...
He got hazed at some point. He got hoodwinked.
Well, again, it didn't make sense. He described it as a drink that was like... Basically, what he described was a Long Island iced tea. But he said that the drinks all separated into levels. And you would drink it with a straw. So you would drink the bottom one first. And I just remember thinking like... That's not how liquids
This doesn't
work.
make sense. I mean, yeah, like the viscosity, but like the different like viscosity of like each liquor isn't going to be enough to make it separate out.
Exactly.
Like
And also, and you drank it from the bottom. Like, why? What would that have to do with anything? It was like you had to drink the whole thing in one go. Why would you have to drink it through a straw from the bottom? Why would everything have to separate? It was just a tall tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy lied to us.
He did.
And he wanted to be...
Maybe that's why he eventually got fired from school. They found out he lied about having a mind eraser.
He showed up wearing like a White Snake jean jacket one time or something.
Yeah.
And it was part of a story about why he doesn't do drugs anymore or something.
Yeah. I also remember he was the only... He was the only teacher that fell for when somebody told him he had a dick for on his shirt.
Yeah.
And then he asked a girl in my grade what's a dick for, and she punched him in the face. It was a teacher.
Well, if a teacher comes up to you
and asks,
you're
what's
a teenage
a dick
girl,
for?
yeah, you can punch him in the face. And he was the baseball coach.
Yeah.
And one time after practice, me and Nick were leaving baseball practice, and he came out. He was walking to his car. He was going to the Rangers game, and he had his face all painted Rangers colors. And he saw us. He said, "Don't tell anybody."
If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. Hey, come to our live show or watch the live stream.
Yeah, come to the show.
tcgte.com/live.
Don't make us go to London to play to a non-packed house.
There you go. The pleading. That's what always... Tell them the show... Weren't you paying attention when I read How to Win Friends and Influence People? You had to tell them what's in it for them, Tim.
Okay, ready? We're going to put on a crackerjack show.
A hell of a show.
Tom, there won't be that much cursing in the show.
But there will be one mention of the word hell.
And I'll make everyone
We won't tell you which night. You'll have to buy tickets for both.
I'll make everybody a Bourbon Ricky.
Well, don't promise people things like that.
Why?
I don't think you're allowed to do that at like a venue. Just start serving
let
drinks.
them find out once they've shown up.
Yeah, that's true.
Guess what? I'm on a plane back to the United States.
Yeah, they're going to be at the box office arguing. The guy told me he'd make me a drink.
I'm going to be running to the embassy to get on
I'm on American soil. You can't do anything to me. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/complete guide. This week, we're starting a new book, Heat 2.
Yeah.
The sequel to the movie Heat in a book form.
Yeah. What a weird world we live in, huh?
Yeah, who would have thought they'd make a book that's a sequel to a movie? But it's pretty good so far. And we're both reading it this time.
Yeah.
So
it's like a real book club.
Yeah,
I suggest you read it, too.
Hey, join our book club, patreon.com/complete guide. Follow us on social media. I'm at Tom Reynolds on Twitter and Instagram.
I thought you said I'm Matt Tom Reynolds.
I'm Matt Tom Reynolds.
I'm at your pal Tim.
Tim...
I said your pal Tim.
Any parting thoughts about cocktails? Has your mind been changed?
My mind has been erased.
That was the thing. He also claimed that like it literally erased all of his memories. Like the way he described it was like he woke up with like the kind of amnesia people have in movies where like they don't know who they are. And how they got where they are or anything like
if that did happen to him, he was right to not drink ever again.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the takeaway everybody in the class had of like, all right, if you couldn't handle the first drink you had, then it sounds like you did a good thing. But nobody believed him either.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't see a guy painting his face going to a Rangers game like, no, I don't drink beer.
Yeah.
Come on. And that's what everybody was like. You know, you don't have to say you don't drink. Nobody looks up to you. And
he was a nice guy. I feel bad. He's a nice guy.
But nobody looked up to him.
Because he was so short, Tom.
But also, it's like, you know, it's fine. We understand. I think that's what got us mad. It was like, we understand you're an adult. You are allowed to drink.
Right.
Like saying you... Like, when you're teaching us about the dangers of alcohol,
there is something
nobody's
to
going, oh, but
an
you
adult
drink.
being like, hey, not every adult drinks.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that wasn't why I was drinking in high school, because I was like, all adults drink.
Yeah,
I'm going to have a beer
but
at this party.
There is kind of this pervasive, like, thought that, like, like, you're weird. Like, it's a weird thing if you don't drink.
Yeah.
See you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.